The topic is creating three-dimensional characters in games, well-rounded characters in games, and how to stay away from stereotypes or tropes, and how to create fully realized, realistic, or interesting characters. Do you think that that a fully a well-rounded character is necessarily means great character, translates instantly into great character? Do you think those two things overlap? If they were Venn diagrams, are they like completely overlapping, or is it slightly, you know?
I don't know about great. In our studio, we have a system that we use whenever we create characters, that they have to have a number of elements. And I'm going to put them up here for Zoom. Right, so we want each character to have history, strengths, weaknesses, relationships, wants, and change. Okay. I won't go through in depth for each of those, but I will touch on a couple here. I think great characters come from characters who change. There is no story without change, and I don't believe characters who are stagnant and static can be great. When we're telling each other stories, we're telling each other stories about how situations lead to conflict and then resolve, right? And inherent in that is change. So if you don't have characters who change along with the story and aren't changed by the story, then those characters aren't interesting, right? They aren't supporting your story. They're just set pieces.
If you've ever read or seen the phrase of women in fridges, it's characters who are created for the purpose of giving the protagonist motivation, only to kill them off so that they have a reason to go on their massive quest.
Yeah, and that's something that is just, you can do it in a game and it will work to move the plot forward. But in terms of creating something interesting, in terms of creating something truly unique and that is going to stand out, I think you can't rely on those tropes, right? You can't rely on you can start with that trope, like you were saying, Rayna, earlier. Like that's a good starting point, but you want to deviate. You want to put yourself into that. You want to put something, your unique spin on that, or otherwise you're just going to have another woman, dead woman in a fridge type of situation.
The number one rule that I had always learned about writing convincing dialogue is that you can't write what people would actually say. You listen to the amount of times I say and right and like. I say it a lot, right? And nobody wants to read that. Dialogue needs to be unnatural in the most natural way possible. And that is so freaking hard, right? Like, it's this thing that you have to learn by listening to how people talk and then saying to yourself, okay, but what if you were really good at talking?
And you have to be able to read it out loud.
Yes.
Always read what you're writing, whether like you go through pages and pages, you still have to read it out loud, and then you get somebody else to read it, and if somebody's stumbling over it, it's not sounding natural.
In games like BioShock, the environment itself can be a character, and the city itself of BioShock becomes a character as you're playing through it.
Yeah, we do. I have worked a lot on that. In our game, we call it the living, breathing world. The world has its own story. The world reacts to the player. The world has its own arc. Like the world progresses throughout the game, just as a character arc progresses, and the world's arc changes around that. And the player can affect that in some ways, the same way that they can affect a lot of other character arcs. But it's really interesting in games that we can treat our world as a character and give it traits and give it strengths and give it weaknesses and give it its own motivations, like what does the world want and how is it working against the player.